"Mom, we're selling your house. You're moving into Sunset Meadows next week." My son's voice was cold, matter of fact, like he was discussing the weather. "It's already decided." I stood there in my kitchen, the phone pressed against my ear, feeling like the ground had just opened beneath my feet. This was David. My David. The boy I'd rocked to sleep every night. The child who used to pick wildflowers for me every Mother's Day. "I see," I said quietly. "Veronica found a great facility," he continued, not even pausing to hear my response. "They have bingo on Thursdays. You'll love it. The realtor is coming tomorrow at 10 to take photos." "Tomorrow?" My voice cracked slightly. "Yeah, we need to move fast. The market's hot right now. Marcus, my realtor buddy, says we can get 1.2 million, maybe more. You'll get your share, of course. We'll set up a trust fund for your care." My share. Of my own house. The house my husband Tom and I had bought 43 years ago. The house where we'd raised David, where Tom had built that ridiculous treehouse that violated every safety code imaginable. Where we'd hosted birthday parties and Christmas dinners and taught our son to ride a bike in the driveway. "David, sweetheart, can we talk about this in person?" "Mom, there's nothing to talk about. You're 71. You can't maintain this place anymore. Last month you called me because you couldn't figure out the new thermostat. It's too much for you." Too much for me. I glanced around my kitchen, the kitchen I'd cleaned that morning, where I'd just finished baking banana bread for the library fundraiser. Too much for me. "What if I don't want to sell?" I asked softly. There was a pause. Then his voice came back, harder. "Mom, be reasonable. You're living in $1 million house by yourself. It's not practical. Veronica and I have been talking about this for months. We think it's best. We think, not I think. We. Veronica. The woman he'd married 5 years ago. The woman who'd slowly, methodically, pulled him away from every value Tom and I had tried to teach him. "I need to think about it," I said. "There's nothing to think about. The realtor comes tomorrow at 10. Please have the place tidy." He hung up. I stood there holding the phone long after the line went dead. And I remembered something Tom had said to me 2 weeks before the heart attack took him. We'd been sitting on the back porch, watching the sunset. "Maggie," he'd said, squeezing my hand, "if something happens to me, promise me something. David's a good boy, but he's weak. He wants people to like him too much. If he ever tries to push you around, don't let him. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them fall." I hadn't understood then. I understood now. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in Tom's office, the room I'd barely touched in 3 years, and I opened the filing cabinet he'd told me about, the one with the purple sticky note that said, "For Maggie just in case." Inside was a folder, and inside that folder was a letter. "My dearest Maggie," it began in Tom's careful handwriting. "If you're reading this, I'm gone, and something's gone wrong with David. I knew this might happen. Veronica is not a good person, sweetheart. I saw it the first time I met her. She looks at people like they're resources to be extracted. And our boy, bless him, he's so desperate to prove himself worthy of her that he's lost sight of who he is. So I made arrangements. Talk to James Park. He has everything you need. The house, the accounts, the investments, they're all protected. You're protected. Let David make his mistakes, but don't let him destroy you in the process. Sometimes we have to let our children hit bottom before they can climb back up. I love you. I'm sorry I'm not there to help. But you're stronger than you know. You always have been. You're Tom." My hands were shaking. James Park. Tom's college roommate. The estate attorney who'd handled Tom's will. I'd spoken to him exactly once. At the funeral. He'd pressed his card into my hand and said, "Maggie, if you ever need anything at all, you call me." I waited until 8 in the morning, a reasonable hour, and I called. James Park speaking. "James, this is Maggie Chen, Tom's wife." There was a brief pause. Then his voice warmed. "Maggie, I was wondering when I'd hear from you. Is it David?" "How did you know?" "Because Tom knew. He came to see me about 6 months before he died, said he had a feeling David was heading down the wrong path. We made some changes to the estate plan." "Has David tried to sell the house?" "He says the realtor is coming today at 10. Let him come. Let him take his photos. Let him list it. and when he tries to close the sale, he's going to get a very interesting surprise. James, what did Tom do? He transferred the house into an irrevocable living trust 3 years ago. You're the lifetime beneficiary. You can live there until you die, at which point it goes to a scholarship fund for underprivileged kids, Tom's legacy fund. David isn't named anywhere in the trust. He can't sell it, can't mortgage it, can't touch it, and if he tries to forge your signature on any documents, well, that's a felony. I sat down hard. Tom did this? Without telling me? He didn't want to worry you while he was alive. He hoped he was wrong about David, but he wanted you protected, just in case he wasn't. James paused. Maggie, there's more. The investment accounts, the rental properties, the life insurance, you're worth about $8 million. David thinks you have maybe the house and a small savings account. Tom structured everything so that if David ever tried to take advantage of you, he'd find out very quickly that he couldn't. I couldn't breathe. Tom had known, had seen this coming, had protected me from beyond the grave. What do I do? I whispered. You let it play out. When David tries to sell the house, the title company will contact you for your signature. You decline. David will either forge your signature, in which case he commits fraud, or he'll come to you angry. Either way, you'll know exactly who he's become. And then you decide what kind of mother you want to be, the kind who enables, or the kind who teaches. The realtor came at 10 sharp. His name was Marcus, and he wore too much cologne. He walked through my house with David and Veronica, talking about staging and curb appeal and comp sales in the neighborhood. I sat in my kitchen and drank tea. Mom, could you maybe not be here when we do the photos? Veronica asked, poking her head in. She was beautiful in that sharp, calculated way, perfect makeup, perfect outfit, perfect smile that never reached her eyes. It's just, buyers like to envision themselves in the space. This is my home, Veronica. Right, but soon it'll be someone else's home, so... She trailed off, that smile frozen in place. David appeared behind her. Mom, please. Just go to the library for a few hours, come back this afternoon. I looked at my son, really looked at him. When had he gotten those lines around his mouth? When had his eyes become so cold? Okay, I said. I'll go. I went to the library. Mrs. Rodriguez, my neighbor, was there. She taught ESL classes on Tuesday mornings. Maggie, you look upset. What's wrong? I told her everything. She listened, her face growing darker. That pendejo, she muttered. Sorry, excuse my language. But your son needs a wake-up call. I think he's about to get one. 3 weeks later, the house sold. Or rather, David thought it sold. Some young couple who loved the neighborhood, he told me. They were paying $1.3 million. Cash offer. Quick close. You'll get $400,000, David said. We were sitting in a coffee shop neutral territory, he'd called it. We're putting it in a trust fund that'll pay for Sunset Meadows. You'll be comfortable there, Mom. They have activities, nurses on staff. It's perfect for someone your age. And the other $900,000? I asked. Well, there's the realtor fees, closing costs. He didn't meet my eyes. And honestly, Mom, Veronica and I have been supporting you for 3 years. We paid for the new roof last year, the plumbing repairs. We think it's fair that we recoup those costs. We never paid for any roof. I'd paid for it with money from the rental property David didn't know about. But I didn't say that. When do I need to move? Closing is in 2 weeks. I found you a great room at Sunset Meadows, south-facing, lots of light. You'll love it. He was so earnest, so convinced he was doing the right thing. Or maybe he'd just told himself that story so many times he believed it. Okay, I said. His face flooded with relief. Really? You're not going to fight this? What would be the point? I said quietly. You've made up your mind. You think you know what's best. He reached across the table and patted my hand. I know this is hard, Mom, but trust me, in a few months you'll see this was the right decision. 10 days before the supposed closing, James called me. The title company contacted David's realtor. They need your signature on the deed. David told them he'd get it. What will he do? Knowing what Tom told me about him, he'll probably try to forge it, or he'll come to you and try to manipulate you into signing. Either way, we'll know. David showed up at my door that evening with a stack of papers. Mom, I need you to sign these. Just formalities for the closing. I looked at the documents. warranty deed, transfer of title, all perfectly prepared, with a nice little X marking where I should sign. David, I need to read these first. Mom, come on, it's just standard stuff. The realtor needs them by tomorrow. Then I'll read them tonight and let you know tomorrow. His jaw tightened. Mom, you're being difficult. Just sign them. Or do you not trust me? Your own son? I'd like to have my lawyer look at them first. Your lawyer? Since when do you have a lawyer? Since your father died, David. James Park handles my affairs. Something flickered across his face. Panic, anger, I couldn't tell. You don't need a lawyer for this, it's straightforward. Then he'll confirm that when he reviews it. David left angry. The papers stayed unsigned on my kitchen table. 2 days later, the title company called James. Someone had submitted a deed with my signature on it. They were calling to verify. It's forged, James told them. Mrs. Chen never signed that document. She never authorized any sale. And actually, the property is held in an irrevocable trust. David Chen has no authority to sell it. The title company immediately notified their fraud department. They notified the police. They notified the realtor's licensing board. And then everything fell apart for David. The police came to his house. Document fraud is a felony in California. The realtor dropped him as a client. The buyers, understandably, backed out immediately. And then Veronica found out. I heard about it from Mrs. Rodriguez, who heard it from her daughter, who worked at the same gym as Veronica. She went nuclear, Mrs. Rodriguez reported. Filed for divorce the next day, cleaned out their joint account. Left him with nothing but legal bills and a criminal investigation. I waited. I waited to see if David would call me, would apologize, would admit what he'd done. He called 5 days later. Mom. His voice was broken. Mom, I messed up. I messed up really bad. Yes, I said quietly. You did. Veronica left me. The police are investigating. I could go to jail. Mom, I need help. I need a lawyer. I need... What do you need from me, David? Silence. Then, money. I need money for a lawyer. A good one. Mom, please. I'm your son. I closed my eyes. Tom's voice echoed in my memory. Sometimes we have to let our children hit bottom. No, I said. What? No, David. I'm not giving you money. But Mom, I'm in trouble. I could go to jail. Doesn't that matter to you? Of course it matters. You're my son. I love you. But you tried to steal my house. You forged my signature. You were going to put me in a nursing home and take everything your father and I built. So no, I'm not saving you from the consequences of your choices. I can't believe you're doing this to me. His voice turned bitter. After everything I've done for you. What have you done for me, David? Tell me. What exactly have you done? He couldn't answer. Because he couldn't think of anything that wasn't a lie. You have 2 choices, I continued. You can take responsibility for what you've done, get a public defender, work with the prosecutor, show remorse, or you can keep lying to yourself and everyone else. But either way, I'm not rescuing you. He hung up on me. I cried that night. I cried for the little boy who used to bring me breakfast in bed on Mother's Day, burnt toast and cold orange juice that he'd carried so carefully up the stairs. I cried for the teenager who'd called me every day his first month of college because he was homesick. I cried for the man my son could have been. But I didn't call him back. I didn't send money. 3 months passed. James kept me updated. David had taken a plea deal, community service, restitution, probation, no jail time, but a felony on his record. Veronica had taken him for everything in the divorce. He'd lost his house, his car, his savings. He was living in a studio apartment in the bad part of town, working at a call center, taking the bus. Mrs. Rodriguez's daughter saw him at the grocery store, counting change to buy ramen. You should see him, she told me. He looks terrible, skinny, exhausted. I almost didn't recognize him. My heart broke a little more, but I still didn't call. 4 months after everything fell apart, I got a letter. Handwritten, on cheap notebook paper. The handwriting was David's. Dear Mom, it began. I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect you to forgive me. I wouldn't forgive me if I were you. I've had a lot of time to think these past few months. Time to see my life clearly, maybe for the first time. And what I see is ugly. I see a man who betrayed his mother because his wife told him to, who tried to steal from the woman who gave him everything, who was so desperate to impress someone who never actually cared about him that he lost sight of everything that mattered. Dad used to tell me that integrity is what you do when nobody's watching. I forgot that, or maybe I never really understood it. I understand now. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. Not sorry I got caught. Sorry for what I did. Sorry for who I became. I'm working at Tech Support Solutions. It's humbling. I'm 42 years old and I'm in a cubicle farm with two 2-year-olds. But it's honest work. I'm also volunteering at the library on weekends, teaching basic computer skills to seniors. Mrs. Henderson, you know, your friend from church? She's taking my class. She says to tell you hello. I'm trying to be better. Trying to be the son you deserved. I don't know if I'll ever get there. But I'm trying. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry I forgot how to show it. David. I held that letter for a long time. Then I called James. I need to see David's community service schedule. Can you find out what he's doing? James called back the next day. He's working at the public library downtown, teaches computer classes for seniors every Saturday morning, also volunteers at a soup kitchen on Wednesdays. The library? Something in my chest eased slightly. Tom had loved the library. Had taken David there every Saturday when he was small. The next Saturday, I went. I sat in the back of the computer room and watched my son teach a room full of elderly people how to use email. He was patient, kind. When Mrs. Henderson got frustrated with the mouse, he didn't get annoyed. He just pulled up a chair beside her and gently guided her through it. There you go, he said warmly. See? You've got this. You're doing great. This was my David. The real one. The one Veronica had buried under layers of materialism and status-seeking. The one Tom had known was still in there somewhere. After the class, I waited. David packed up his materials, chatted with a few lingering students, and finally headed for the door. Hello, David. He froze, turned. His face went pale when he saw me. Mom, I didn't know you were here. I know. I wanted to see what you were doing. Oh. He shifted his weight, uncomfortable. Did Mrs. Henderson tell you I was teaching here? No. James did. We stood there in the library lobby, surrounded by Saturday morning silence. You got my letter? He asked finally. I did. I meant every word. I looked at my son, really looked at him. He'd lost weight, yes. He looked tired, worn, but there was something else different about him, something in his eyes. A clarity that hadn't been there before. I know you did, I said softly. Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. What I did was unforgivable. But I want you to know I'm trying to— Have dinner with me, I interrupted. He blinked. What? Dinner. Tonight. At my house. 6 o'clock. I don't. Are you sure? David, I've never been less sure of anything in my life. But you're my son, and I'd like to have dinner with you. His eyes filled with tears. Okay. Yeah. I'll be there. That night, David sat at our kitchen table for the first time in nearly a year. I made pot roast his favorite when he was young. We didn't talk about the house, or the fraud, or Veronica. We talked about small things. His job, his computer classes, the book he was reading. It wasn't comfortable. There was too much hurt between us for comfort. But it was a beginning. Your father, I said as we cleared the dishes, he knew. Before he died, he saw what was happening. He saw Veronica pulling you away, saw you changing. David's hands stilled. He did? He left me a letter. Told me to let you fall if you needed to. Told me it would be the kindest thing I could do. He was right. David's voice was rough. I needed to fall. I needed to lose everything. Otherwise, I never would have seen what I'd become. He also told me you were stronger than you knew. That the real David, the good David, was still in there. He was right about that, too. David wiped his eyes. I miss him. I miss him so much. And I'm sorry I wasted the time I had with him chasing after things that didn't matter. He knew you loved him. And he loved you. That never changed, no matter what. Over the next year, David and I rebuilt our relationship slowly. He came for dinner every Sunday. He fixed things around the house that needed fixing, the leaky faucet, the loose step on the porch. He met Sarah, a teacher who worked at the library. She was kind and practical, and she thought his call center job was respectable, honest work. They started dating. She came to Sunday dinners. She reminded me a little of myself at that age, sensible shoes, genuine smile, more interested in who someone was than what they had. 2 years after everything fell apart, David and Sarah got married. Small ceremony in my backyard. Mrs. Rodriguez catered. James Park officiated. He'd gotten ordained online just for the occasion. And 3 years after that, they had a baby. Emma Grace, named after my mother. When I held my granddaughter for the first time, David said, "I want to raise her the way you and Dad raised me." Before I forgot. The values, the humility, all of it. I want her to know what really matters. "You will," I told him, "because now you know." Last month, David came to me with something in his hands. A document. "What's this?" I asked. "It's the scholarship fund, Dad's legacy fund. The one that's supposed to get the house after you." After. He couldn't say die. "I've been working with James on it. We're going to expand it. Tech scholarships for underprivileged kids. I want to be on the board. I want to help run it. Not for the house, I don't care about the house. But for Dad, to honor what he believed in." I started crying. David hugged me, and I thought about Tom, about how he'd known. How he'd seen our son's true heart even when David himself had forgotten it existed. "He'd be so proud of you," I whispered. "I hope so," David said. "I'm trying every day to be the man he thought I could be." Sometimes people ask me if I did the right thing, if I should have helped David when he was desperate, if letting him hit bottom was too cruel. But I remember what Tom told me: the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them fall. David didn't just fall, he shattered. And in the breaking, he found himself again. The real self. The one buried under years of trying to be someone he wasn't. And now, when I look at my son teaching Emma to ride a bike in my driveway, the same driveway where he learned 40 years ago, I know Tom was right. Sometimes love means saving someone, and sometimes it means letting them save themselves. I learned to choose wisely, and my son learned to stand on his own. It's the greatest gift I ever gave him.